So first, a little bit about me. I was born in India in 1991. I was around 5 years old when I first saw and got to use a computer. And let me tell you, it was love at first sight. It was when I was 9 years old that I discovered that I could create my own stuff using the computer. And then that's all I wanted to do. Over the last 20 years, I've created animation and short films, games, websites, and web apps. I've mostly worked with JavaScript, Ruby, Python, and then a whole bunch of other stuff. You'll find my full work history in my CV below, but in the last 5 years, I've had the great pleasure of teaching hundreds of kids and teenagers programming and math. I get immense pleasure from learning new things and then sharing it with my students. There are some students that I've had for several years now, and it's so rewarding to see so much growth in them. Currently, I teach 2 to 3 classes a week in programming and math after work. Okay, now I want to talk about my latest job at SalesScreen. As sales engineer, it was my job to talk to the customers to figure out the best way to get all of their data from all the different systems they were using into our platform. It would be using this data that the customers would be able to use SalesScreen as a gamification platform to boost motivation in sales. As sales engineer, I was the glue between the salespeople and the developers. You know, that technical guy that needs to actually talk to customers and make sense. During my stay at the company, I talked to leaders from so many different industries: insurance, shipping, network security, IT consulting, mortgage brokers, car dealerships. Yep, pretty much anything and everything. This was one of my favorite parts of the job because I got to learn so much about how different industries work from the people actually running those businesses. The technical part of the job was, of course, to build the actual integrations. Some of them were fairly straightforward. Native integrations built by the developers where I could use a web interface to run specific API requests. However, most of the time, it was not very straightforward at all. As I already mentioned, our customers came from different industries. That means that systems they use to collect data varies a lot as well. I had to figure out how to get essential data from various CRMs and huge Excel files, build custom integrations, write technical documentation, and lead meetings with developers whenever they had technical questions about our API. I had to do a lot of thinking on my feet to problem solve. After being at the company for only a couple of weeks, I realized there was a big problem. None of the customer integration cases were being documented. This meant that valuable technical information was being stored in email chains, Slack, and in the brains of employees and customers. This led to a lot of headaches, more real-time communication, and chaos. So I took it upon myself to fix this problem, at least as far as I was concerned. Over the course of the next 9 to 10 months, I built and iterated on an internal documentation system that documented each and every case that I was involved in. This severely reduced the amount of stress for everyone involved. Now, everyone knew where to go to find the information. This happened during a time when the company doubled its headcount. During my stay at the company, I also created tutorials and guides for current and new employees. One of them is the new API documentation, which you can check out below. I was fortunate enough to get several recommendations from my coworkers at SalesScreen. Here's one of them. You can find the rest below.